quick introduction. I'm Matt Barre, Five Realty here in Tucson, team leader of the Matt Barre Group. Just by a quick show of thumbs up, hands if you're on camera. If you're not on camera, maybe send an emoji. Who here is part of the Tom Ferry ecosystem? Quick raise of hands, show of hands. All right, so 2, 3, okay. So a large majority of you are part of the Tom Ferry ecosystem. Love that, love connecting with you guys. So towards the end of August, I was on a coaching call with my my coach, Jeff Mays, and he basically said to me, like, listen, going into Q4, what are we going to focus on? What are we going to dominate? What are we going to absolutely crush? And we established that in my marketplace alone in Tucson, Arizona, there were 220 for sale by owners, just in Tucson and the surrounding area, okay? So when we looked at that data, I was like, okay, fish in a barrel, baby, let's go all in. And myself and Jeff, we came up with a very simple script, which I'm going to share with you today, and a very simple plan to get in the front door with for sale by owners, start having an engaging conversation, and it's going to lead to some great results, okay? I'm going to share with you, since the beginning of September, I've had a lot of travel, a lot of trips, so I haven't been able to go completely all in, probably about 85% in. But since the beginning of September, I have spoken to 22 for sale by owners, physically picked up the phone and spoke to them. I've gone on 18 previews with for sale by owners, have taken 6 listings of for sale by owners and put 3 under contract. So literally in 6 weeks, 6 listings, 3 under contract. Gross sales volume for those 3 that are under contract is just under $1 million, and it's a gross commission of around about $31,000 in 6 weeks, and it didn't cost me a penny. Who else would like to make about 30K, take some listings, and not cost them $1? Everyone's like, hell yeah! It's like, God, I feel like I'm at church. Everyone's just like, praise the Lord, let's go. Okay. So here is the simple, and I apologize, I'm British. So if you're all wondering, where the hell's this guy from? I'm not Australian, I'm not Canadian, South African, I'm British, so I apologize. Here's the kicker, my friends. For sale by owners right now, from what I've understood from me talking to them personally, is they want to sell their home. They're generally motivated. They just want to save money. That's all it comes down to, right? They just want to save money. They're misguided with regards to the market. They understand that there is a shortage of homes, and they still think they can sell it for themselves, get top dollar. The phone's going to be blowing up off the hook, and it's going to be a slam dunk for them. I can tell you right now, it isn't. It isn't at all. So let's dive into the initial conversation, okay? The best script, and I've done for sale by owners in the past and struggled, the best script that I've come up with that is working time and time again and has allowed me to have 18 preview appointments and take 6 listings and get 3 of those under contract is by calling the for sale by owner and basically saying, hi, is this the homeowner of 123 Nunanuna Street? Yes, it is. Hi, my name's Matt Barre with Five Realty. I'm calling about your home. Are you holding it open this weekend? That's it. Are you holding it open this weekend? What do you think the answer is? I can tell you right now, it's a no. They're not doing it. So when you ask that question of, are you holding it open this weekend? And they come back with a no, my response is, oh, that's a shame. I was hoping to stop by and preview it. That's it. That's the script. At that point, they generally turn around and say, oh, well, you know, you can come by tomorrow or Wednesday. And if they don't, I ask, could I stop by tomorrow or Thursday or Friday at this time or this time and spend a quick 10 minutes to preview it? That has gotten me in the door for 18 appointments out of 22 calls. It's that simple. You don't have to overthink it. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Hi, Mr. Homeowner on 123 Nunanuna Street. This is Matt Barre with Five Realty. Are you holding your home open this weekend? No. That's a shame. I was hoping to stop by and preview it. Could I potentially come by tomorrow or Friday for 10 minutes and take a quick look? That gets me in the door every time, okay? Out of the 22 that I called, the other ones that didn't let me in is because they have tenants in place and they don't have the opportunity to let me in the door. And they basically said, we're for sale by owner, we've got tenants in, we can't really show it, but the tenants move out at this date, call us on this date and you can come by and see it, right? Isn't that ridiculously easy? Can I get a show of hands? Ridiculous easy? Yeah, like ridiculously easy. Now, I want to share with you that most of these for sale by owners in this conversation do ask, do you have a buyer? Right? And I'm sure you've probably heard this in the past before. Do you have a buyer? Yes, Mr. Homeowner, I'm actually working with several buyers looking in your area. What I want to do is stop by for 10 minutes to preview it, either tomorrow or Friday, whatever day, whatever time. I want to stop by and preview it so I can go back and tell my buyers about your home, see if I can match that up, and then bring one of them through for a following appointment. So does tomorrow at 5 or Saturday at 4 work better for you? That's it, guys. That gets you in the door. 99.9% of the time, it gets you in the door. Who on the Zoom or on the chat thinks they can handle that script? Okay, pretty much all of you. All right. I'm actually going to leave this open towards the end for some Q&A, because I'm sure some of you are now starting to think of questions and objections, and I want to make sure we answer those. So I'm going to just keep on moving. So that gets me in the door. What do I do when I'm in the door? Okay. The first thing that I implore you to do is do not do the bait and switch. Get through the front door and then it's bam, I'm an amazing agent. I've sold all these homes. You should list with me. You're a total dumbass for being a for sale by owner. What the hell are you thinking? I can only tell you, you would be bounced back out the door quicker than you got there. Okay, so please, please, please do not do the bait and switch. There is an easy way to lead into this conversation of having them realize that you're a great agent and you could potentially sell their home when they make the decision to sell it. Okay, so when I'm in the house, what am I talking about? Well, first off, go in as if you're a buyer. You're there to preview it. So actually preview it. This leads to two things. One, you're building rapport with the for sale by owner who you potentially want to list. But secondly, you actually may have a buyer. And that's great if you do. And it allows you to know off-market properties. So when you meet a buyer at an open house that's looking for a specific type of home, you may turn and say, hey, there's not one on MLS, but I know a for sale by owner who I can show you. It just buildens and broadens your knowledge of your market center. Does that make sense? So go into the home to preview the home specifically and realize, guys, the for sale by owner, that seller, they are just a human being. So ask questions. Mr. Homeowner, pretend I'm a buyer. Tell me what you love about your house and take notes. Take a little notebook with you. I do. Take notes. Have them tell you what they love about their home. Because again, if you have a buyer, you can share that knowledge to them about what you love about their home. Who here, quick show of hands, hands up, emojis, whatever. Who here knows LP Mama? I'm sure this may have been mentioned on previous calls. Who here knows LP Mama, right? LP Mama is a great tool to use when doing a buyer consultation. It actually works really well with for sale by owners too. So L stands for location, okay? I have a notebook which I take to my FSBOs. I have LP Mama on the front cover, the inside front cover, to just a quick reminder to ask these questions. So location, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, when you sell your home, where are you moving to? Are you staying local? Are you moving out of state? Just start building this conversation. You want to understand their mentality. That's the key indicator here. So where are they going? Ask where they're moving to. Number two, P, price. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're listed at, and I know all of you in different market centers. So when I tell you my numbers, you're going to be like, damn, you may be in SoCal, you may be in, wherever you're at, your prices are going to be different. But Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're selling the home here for $450,000. How did you come up with the price? 9 times out of 10, guys, they're going to tell you they used Zillow. Okay, don't badmouth Zillow and don't be like, you're a dumbass. What the hell are you thinking? Like, everybody knows that the A in Zillow stands for accurate, right? So don't make them wrong. Just keep loving on them and leading into them. So, okay, great. You use Zillow. That's excellent. Just out of curiosity, did anybody actually give you a dialed in marketing report or a comp for this home? They're going to say no. Leave it there. Don't push. Just leave it there. Just again, gain more information. M, motivation. What's your plan? What's your timeline? When do you ultimately want this home to sell by? You're going to have some for sale by owners that are motivated. They've got a timeline. They want it to be sold in 30, 60, 90 days. You're also going to meet some for sale by owners who are like, we don't give a shit. We just threw it out there. And if it sells, it sells. That's okay. Start to gauge that motivation with these folks. Okay. So M is motivation. What's your goal? What's your plan? When do you ideally want this home to sell by? A, agent. Okay. You can ask the question. It's okay. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, just out of curiosity, have you spoke to any other agents or potentially have an agent in mind that if your plan doesn't work, that you're going to sell with? If they turn around and say, yes, my wife's best friend is a realtor, and we've already said if it doesn't sell, we're going to go with them, these guys are going to be a tough nut to crack. But if they turn around and say, wow, no, we haven't spoke to anybody yet, we're just, doing this by ourselves, great, make those notes. M, money or mortgage. Ask them, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you own this home free and clear? Do you have a mortgage on the property that needs to be paid off once you sell? And do you need to sell this home to buy your next home? Figure out the money piece. Can you see how all this is all coming together to give you a better understanding of these for sale by owners rather than just walking in and telling them a dumbass and they should list with you? You really want to figure out what's going on in the back of their mind. And then the last one is A for appointment. You want to get back in front of them, okay? And this is how I do it. I need you guys to love on for sale by owners like they're a puppy. When you find a puppy and, you see somebody who's got a puppy, you just want to love on them like undoubtedly. You want to pick that thing up and run away with it. You need to love on for sale by owners like they're a puppy. So this is how you get the next appointment. You've had a conversation, you've toured the home, you've gone through your LP mama, you've now got a good mental understanding of where they are. Love on them like a puppy. But to do that, you've got to create a little pain. Pain equals pleasure. We all know that. So you want to give them a little pain. Here's my pain point to a for sale by owner. And it has worked. Trust me, guys. Just trust me on this. So, Mr. Seller, have you had any offers on the house? Most likely 9 times out of 10, they haven't. If they had, they'd have probably negotiated and sold it already. So no, we haven't had any offers. We've had some people tell us that they're going to send us something, but we haven't received anything. Great. Have you seen a purchase contract? Have you seen a purchase contract? Again, 9 times out of 10, no. When they say no, that's where you push the pain. You go, okay, I kind of thought that. Mr. Seller, here's what I want to do. I know for a fact that if an agent has a buyer and they know you're a for sale by owner, they're going to send you an offer. They're going to give you a very short window to respond because they're going to want to take advantage of the fact that you're not legally represented. So they're going to send you a contract and all the paperwork with all these terms in and probably a very short response window. And they're going to take advantage of the fact you're not going to read the damn contract. And there may be things in there that 30 days later, when it comes to the closing table, you realize you've given away your firstborn child and you didn't know about it. So here's what I want to do. Can I, or would you be against me stopping back by tomorrow? I'd like to bring you a sample of a purchase contract and all the associated paperwork that is going to be presented to you when you get an offer. They're not going to say no, guys. It's free shit. If somebody offered you free shit, would you turn it down? Absolutely not. So by saying to these guys, putting on that pain and saying, listen, I understand. I want to help you help yourself. I'm a little concerned, or I have a little bit of fear that if you do get an offer, you might be putting your back against the wall or into a corner. I'd love to stop by tomorrow and bring you a packet with a sample of all the paperwork you're going to need. Can I do that? Is the same time tomorrow good for me to stop on by? Sure thing. Go back to your office, print a sample of all the paperwork, purchase contract, HOA addendum, solar leases if needed, seller's property disclosure, whatever your marketplace, the paperwork you need for a contract, take it out, either print it with sample across it or just write sample on it so they can't use it, and go back the next day. Now, here's the kicker. When you ring the door and they let you back in, take the paperwork, spread it out all across the kitchen table or across the countertop, spray that shit out like it's a deck of cards in Vegas and say, here you go, Mr. Seller. Here's all the paperwork. And I guarantee you guys, their eyes go from this to this. They're like, oh shit. They had zero idea. Like they literally thought they were going to get an offer on the back of a napkin, and there was like 100 pieces of paper which they now need to realize, understand, and follow out. They're going to look at you, and you'll literally see them go. You'll see that oh shit moment, okay, and just have that conversation. Like, yeah, it's a lot of paperwork. This is the purchase contract. This is the seller's disclosure. You may want to, look at this area and really pay attention to this area. Like, help them. At the end of the day, if they sell themselves and somebody says to them, hey, we're thinking about selling, they're probably going to say, we had this realtor that helped us. He bought us all this paperwork. He gave us this heads up for us to go and sell it by ourselves. We were able to call him with questions and he didn't, say, well, I'm not helping you because, you didn't list with me. He was a genuine advocate of us doing this. And if they have people looking to buy or sell, they're most likely going to give your name out because you gave them free advice. Okay. Don't be secret ninja agents. Give you that shit away for free. And so have that conversation, take down that paperwork and just leave it with them. Just give it to them. But then you're going to put them up on a follow-up call every week. And that call is going to be like, hey, Bob, it's Matt from Five Realty. I'm just calling. Did you sell your house yet? No. Oh, that sucks, Bob. What are we doing differently this week to get it sold? I don't know. Well, are you thinking about doing an open house, Bob? No, not really. Well, are you gonna, put some money behind Google ads? No, not really. Oh, okay. So what are we doing then, Bob? And they will probably just tell you they're just going to keep waiting for that phone call. Okay, Bob, sounds great. Well, if you need anything, let me know. Following week, hey, Bob, it's Matt with Five Realty. Have you sold your house yet? No. Sorry to hear that, Bob. What are we doing differently this week? It took me 11 weeks. This is a past previous experience. Before I started this new campaign, it took me 11 weeks once to get a for sale by owner. And every week I would call him and be like, hey, Ted, you sold your house yet? No. What are we doing differently this week, Ted? Oh, I don't know. All right, Ted, call you next week. 11 weeks. And on the 11th week, I called him. I was like, hey, Ted, it's been 11 weeks. Have we sold it yet? No. And he goes, and to be honest with you, Mary Lou, his wife, beautiful woman, she goes, Mary Lou's kind of giving me shit about it. So, you know what? Why don't you just come down and have a conversation with us and bring the paperwork? I'm tired of this. Okay, Ted. I was there the next day. I took the listing and 5 days later it was under contract. So trust me, it pays off. This is long-term. Keep going after them. The 3 that I got when I was having that pain point conversation with them, part of that LP Mama, they needed to be sold and out within like 45 days. And I'm like, what happens in the next 45 days if it hasn't sold? What's your plan B? We don't have one. I'm like, you don't have a plan B? Your goal is to be sold in 45 days and you don't have a plan B. And they were like, no. I'm like, I'm your plan B. And that was literally, I was like, listen, I can have this thing on the market in 5 days with all the marketing. We're going to push this thing. We're going to do open houses Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to, blitz this thing in the neighborhood. We're going to circle dial the properties. We're going to circle dial your neighbors and tell them that your home is up for sale. Like, who do they know? We're going to go all in. And they were like, do you really think you can get it sold in 45 days? I'm like, I will do my absolute best, but I can promise you the effort I'm going to put into this is going to get more traction than if you just have that little Home Depot red and white sign in your front yard that says for sale by owner with a number that's illegible because you've written it in a Sharpie. And they're like, okay, like it's really simple, guys. For sale by owners aren't complicated. They all have a motivation. They all have a goal. You just got to ask the right questions and get to it. So I want to share some numbers with you. If you guys have got pens and paper, I want you to write this down, okay? These are really critical numbers. And so this isn't a bullshit stat. This is a genuine stat from NAR, okay? A for sale by owner sells their home for 88% of their list price. 88% of their list price. Okay, that's huge. And I'm gonna do a rough example for you with these numbers. So you're gonna want to know the first statistic, 88%. That is the number that for sale by owners sell their home for. You want to know your average agent in your marketplace. You can do this through MLS or whatever sources you use. Look in your MLS and see what the average list to sales price is in your MLS. I can tell you mine right now, it is 96%. And then you also want to know what is your personal list to sales price. Mine currently is 99.2%. So you've got 88% for sale by owner. You want to know what your average agent in your marketplace sales price, list to sales price is, and you want to know your own. And then you can do this either right in front of them, or you can take them an article that you've pre-printed with predetermined numbers so they can do the math by themselves. You want to know these numbers. So we're going to run through a quick example. $450,000 for sale by owner, right? If they sold at 88%, their sales price would be 396,000. Started at 450, they're at 396,000. If they add, and that's if a buyer walked in off the street, no agents involved. If they were to actually pay a 3% commission to an agent bringing in a buyer, which most of them often do, their actual net, their take home, their bottom sales price is 384,120. 384,000 from 450 to 384. That's a for sale by owner. I mentioned the average agent in our marketplace does 96%. So again, $450,000 listing minus a 6% commission actually gets them to 406,000. So right there, they're almost 20,000 more just by listing with a traditional agent. Okay. And that's at a 96%, by the way, list to sales price. Myself with a $450,000 listing and my listing to sales price minus a 6% commission is 419,000 to the seller. So if you know these numbers, you know the 88% for a FSBO, you know your average agent in your marketplace, and you know yours, you can either do a predetermined form, put it in that little packet as an info sheet, or even better, if you have the numbers up here, just take their sales price and work these numbers out right on the kitchen counter with them and be like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're destined to make this if you keep going by yourself. I can help you get this. Okay. So for me, they literally from themselves to myself, they've gone from 384 to nearly 420 listing with myself. That's a 35, nearly $36,000 advantage. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you don't want $36,000, give me your goddamn checkbook. I'll take your money now. Like, if you don't want more money, then give it to charity. I don't know what you're doing. Okay. You're wasting money. You're wasting time. And you're not going to achieve your goal. All right. So those numbers are critically important. It's a great, especially for sale by owner, which they do tell us, say, "Wow, we want to save more money." I appreciate that. I totally get that. Did you know that the average for sale by owner actually sells their home for 88% of their list price, and then run right into these numbers and show them the difference? They'll be amazed, and they may even push back and go, "That's bullshit." Hey. I didn't make this up. This is a National Association of Realtors statistic taken across the US. Like, I'm not pulling this out of my ass. Okay. So that gets me in the front door. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is Matt Barre with Five Realty. Are you holding your home open this weekend? Oh, you're not? That's a shame. I was hoping to stop by and preview it. Could I stop by maybe tomorrow or Saturday at this time or this time? It gets you in the door. Once you're in the door, do your LP Mama script. Figure out that location. Where are they going? How do they determine their price? What's their motivation? When do they ideally want to be sold by? Have they spoken to an agent or know an agent that they're going to work with? Do they have a mortgage, or is that property free and clear? And set the appointment to get back in front of them again by doing the whole, have you seen a purchase contract? Oh, you haven't? Would you be against me stopping by tomorrow and bringing you a blank copy so you can understand it for when you get that offer? Does that make sense? Okay. So I know we're on a super limited time here, and I don't want to just keep rambling on, because I'm sure a couple of you, if you have questions. But guys, trust me, if you just lean into a FSBO and love on them and give them advice and give them your confidence, and don't be a pushy salesperson looking for the listing, they will list with you. I trust me. I went into this with blind faith from Jeff Mason and I's conversation, and it worked phenomenally, like really well. And again, I've had a lot of travel in the last couple of weeks, so I haven't been able to go all in. But by the time I get back on Monday from my last trip, I can guarantee you, from the beginning of November to the end of December, I am all in with FSBOs, baby, every single day. Every single day. Set up those preview appointments, go see them, go back the day after or the day after that with the paperwork, and just have them on a routine call. Hey, what are we doing differently? How can I help you? Shit, I've actually lent my open house sign. Like I bought blank open house signs, just said open house, no branding, no Matt Barre Group, no Five Realty. I've bought just blank open house signs. And I'm like, you want to hold your house open? I'll stop by on Friday afternoon. I'll drop off 10 open house signs for you. I'll pick them back up on Monday. They're like, okay. I also had a conversation with them when I was brutally honest and said, listen, can I be brutally honest? And they were like, sure. I'm like, your photographs are pretty bad. Like you've taken them with like a Motorola flip phone and your thumbs across the lens. Like your pictures, the way you're presenting your house is terrible. Would you be against me sending my photographer to come down and do high definition photos for you? I'll give you the pictures for you to list your house by yourself. But can we make a pinky promise that if it doesn't sell, you'll call me to list the property? Because I'll already have a copy of the pictures too. Oh, sure. Boom. $250 for my photographer. He goes down and takes 15, 20 pictures. I give them to them. They put the house in the market. If it sells, I don't give a shit. I feel good about myself. If it doesn't sell, boom, I've got the listing, baby, and it can go to market even quicker. I've already got the photographs. Like, just give as much as you can to these people. It will come back in 10x in love and support and referrals and business. Okay. All right. My 6 cups of coffee have totally kicked in this morning. I'm going to shut up. And if you guys have got questions, unmute yourself, ask away, and I'll see if I can answer as many as I can before the time's up.
So that was freaking awesome. Thank you, Matt. But I have a question. If you do ask them, okay, are you holding your house open this weekend? And they say, no, why don't you come and host an open house for me? Or, offer you to do an open house. Would you do it, or would you tell them I'll drop off signs for you?
If they asked me if I would like to host it.
Yes. So when you're asking as part of the script, you said, are you holding your house open this weekend? And they come back at you and say, no, I'm not, but you're welcome to host an open house for us if you'd like. Would you jump on that opportunity, or would you tell them something
Absolutely. Else? 100%. 100%. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I would love to hold your house open this weekend. We have a one-party agreement, which means you actually hire me for those 2 days to hold your home open. But understand, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if I sell this house for you this weekend, there are commissions involved and you will have to pay me. Are you comfortable with me holding your home open this weekend, doing the marketing to bring people in, holding it open with a weekend one-party listing agreement? And if it sells, will you compensate me? If they say yes, go all in, baby. Get the one-party listing agreement for that weekend from the Friday through to the Monday. Get the listing agreement. Go knock the shit out of it. Hold it open. If anything, you may pick up buyers that want to go somewhere else, which therefore puts people into your funnel, into your database. And if it sells, great. And if it doesn't, it just goes to show that you are determined to help them. So yes, absolutely take the open house. Now, I will say this, don't call on a Wednesday and be like, hey, I wanted to know if your home was open this weekend. Can I come and preview it? And they go, sure, we are holding it open. You can stop by on Saturday. And you look at your schedule like, shit, I'm actually out of town. Like, make sure you're not out of town the weekend that you're calling people to falsify their open house. Because if they are, you're going to look like a bit of a schmuck when you're like, actually, I'm not in town this weekend. I can make this work, right? Make sure your weekend is free and clear. But great question. Thank you for asking that. Anybody else?
While you're asking them your follow-up calls that you're giving to them to see what they're doing different, do you provide any market updates? It's like, yeah, hey, I seen that 3 other houses sold in the neighborhood. What are we doing different?
Love that. And yes, absolutely. If you keep these guys focused, put them into your database. Obviously, make sure you're on top when you follow up. Say, just like you said, yeah, your neighbor listed down the street, and they're getting some activity and they're holding it open this weekend. What are we going to do to capitalize on that? Or the house around the corner that was listed is actually now under contract. How can we leverage that to bring more buyers to you? Absolutely. Be the director of that, understand that market around that property and give them the updates. They may honestly not know. I have a for sale buyer I'm working right now, and I'm on my 5th week of calling him. He's actually out of state. He doesn't give a shit. He's like, if it sells, it sells. I'm like, okay, but I'm determined to not let this guy go. I called him up and said, there's a house around the corner that's listed, exact same floor plan, and they're actually listed for 10,000 less than yours. How can we capitalize on this? And he went, I don't know. I'm like, well, the only way to capitalize in is actually by listing your home and retrieving the buyers that don't want that house that want yours. And we're now going back and forth about actually listing this property. He's got to speak to his wife. I'm like, okay, we all need to do that, right? But we're having those determined conversations about getting that property listed, because sometimes they might think they're the only one in the neighborhood, and when one or two others pop up, they're like, oh shit, people are still going to drive past me and they're not going to entertain it. Guys, how many of you generally look at for sale by owners as a source of properties for your buyers? Be honest. None of us. Why? Because they're generally assholes to deal with, they don't pay commissions, and you don't want to have to do two persons work for one set of commission, right? I don't know any agents that look at for sale by owners and go, oh, let me look at properties for you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Oh, let's go look at all these for sale by owners. We just don't do it. We go to the MLS. That's where we operate. So we've got to get in the mindset of these for sale by owners that agents like us are not looking for your property. The only person that's going to call you is somebody who doesn't have an agent that specifically wants your home. They're not finding it elsewhere unless they drive past your little Home Depot sign with the Sharpie number on it. So great question. Thank you for asking that. Yes, give them those updates, what's sold around them, what's coming on the market, and just, again, let them know. Interest rates have gone up. Buyers are pulling back. You may be getting less phone calls. It's a good job that I can, be in the right places to get more buyers to your property. So yeah, absolute great question. Thank you for asking that. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question. So back to the point when you say I'll come back tomorrow with all the paperwork. It's like you can't be that good. It's like you're trying to list the home. What is your answer to that? How you say it exactly? You're gonna come back tomorrow with all the paperwork just to educate me about what to do.
Absolutely, yeah. Like Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you obviously went for sale by owner for a reason. You either, you want to sell money, you got really burned by a previous realtor and now you completely hate us, so you don't want to use us ever again, whatever it is. My goal is not just to help buyers buy or sellers sell, it's to help people get educated in the real estate market. So if you have a mission and a passion to sell your home by yourself, at least do it educated. And I just want to educate you. Now, and I've said this to FSBOs, look, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask, are you planning to list with a realtor? Because I truly want to know that, because if you are, I would love to take off my hat and throw it in the ring and be interviewed by you. But my goal isn't to take your listing. You obviously have a reason for being a sell by owner. I just want to make sure you stay protected, because this is my job, this is my passion, this is my industry, and I just don't want you to get burned. It's as simple as that. And that's literally how I think for sale by owners. I'm not here to bait and switch them. I just want them to get the job done. And if they can't get it done, I'll step in and do it for them. You can't give too much away to for sale by owners. Just keep giving. And again, if they sell by themselves, call them up and be like, hey, I saw you sold your house. That's amazing. Tell me about it. Who was the buyer? Did you sell it for what you wanted for? When's the closing? Like, be their biggest cheerleader. They will love you for that. And if they ever get a question of, hey, we're looking to sell, do you know a great realtor? They will mention you. So just give, baby. Just keep on giving. It'll come back. I promise you. Great question. Thank you. Any others? No other questions. Wow,
I have
you
a
guys are all rock
question.
stars. Yes.
No question. So have you come across in your encounters with FSBOs where you absolutely don't have a buyer for that area? Like if you're, you looked at an area, you saw that there's FSBOs there, never really worked that area, and they asked you that question, like how can I overcome that objection without sounding disingenuous?
No, absolutely great question. So I would say all of us should be experts in our market. All of us, with regardings to what properties are on MLS and what properties are off MLS. And if they say to you, do you have a specific buyer for this home? Don't ever lie to them. Be honest and say, you know what? I don't have a specific buyer for this home, but my goal is to know about every home that is for sale in my city, in my area, in my zip code, whatever it is, because I don't know who I'm going to meet tomorrow. I may be holding an open house this weekend and a buyer comes in and when I'm chatting to them, they want this, and this. And if all of these match up with your home, I can bring them to you. So I just want to stop by and take a look at your home, because it's my job to understand every home that's for sale in my area. and I just want to take 10 minutes of your time. If they turn around and say, no, I'm not interested, or you can come by and preview when you have a buyer, okay, I appreciate that. Don't make them wrong. Just put the phone down, call the next one. But don't ever lie to them and say, oh yeah, I've got a buyer, and go through and you actually don't. They can sniff bullshit right away. So just be open. Just be completely honest. Great question. Thank you, Rochelle. Anybody else? I know I came at you with a lot of points.
Sorry, I have another question. Do you do anything on the back end? Like, are you retargeting them with ads? Are you sending them any information or anything like that between the time that you speak with them and, you know, eventually when they give in to list with you? Are you retargeting them on social media or anything at all that you're sending, like in between those weekly calls or the appointments or anything like that?
Absolute great question. Thank you for asking. The honest answer is no at this time. Like I said, this has literally been 6 weeks for me. I'm always a belly-to-belly interaction type of person. If I can get in front of somebody, I can build rapport easily, very easily. I love where your head's at of like, can I retarget them? You know, that my shit's popping up on their Instagram, their Facebook, you know, YouTube, all that sort of stuff. That's going to be the next iteration. And I'm going to work with Jeff Mays on dialing that in. But quite honestly, it's belly-to-belly stuff. Okay. So I appreciate that question. Your answer to that is no. If you have that in place already, I would say lean in and do that if you have it in place. I personally don't. But like I said, I prefer to pick up the call, shoot them a text, get back in front of them as many times as I can so they actually have a relationship with me, just not a digital relationship. Okay. Belly to belly's always been key for me. It's just the way I started my career. It's the way I continue my career. And it's the way I love to do business. If I can look you in the eyes, you know, have a cup of coffee with you, I'm going to build better rapport. They're going to have a deeper level of trust in me because they know me, they've seen me, they potentially like me, maybe, I don't know. But that's generally the way I do my business, is belly to belly. But if you have that retargeting program in place, put it in place and get in front of them as many times as you can. Great question. Thank you. And thank you for bringing it back up again. It's definitely on my radar.
Matt, I have a question. So a lot of times we're hearing that bringing in gifts to clients and stuff, because it's like a give and give back kind of thing. So do you bring any gifts when you go to the home, or you just come empty handed?
No, on the initial, you know, I call, can I stop by to preview? I literally just do that. I don't bring any gifts, any swag. You know, I'm not trying to woo them with, you know, keychains and flowers and all that sort of shit. I literally just go there as me. I have a little notebook, and like I said, I ask that question. The first initial question is, pretend I'm a buyer. Show me what you love about your home so I can pass that information on. And then I go down the LP mama. My gifts come towards the end when I hit them with that pain question of, have you seen a contract? Would you be against me stopping by and bringing you all this so you're prepared? And then the follow-ups are, you know, how else can I support and help you? Can I have somebody come and take better photos? Can I give you some open house signs? I've offered to, you know, the one house I went into, they had these flyers, you know, with it was just, in fact, I think I still have it somewhere. It's just like a Word document, like, and it's terrible. And I was like, listen, you know what? It'll take me 5 minutes to put together a really great flyer for you. When I bring back those contracts tomorrow, I'm going to bring you half a dozen to a dozen really nice flyers with the pictures. I'll pull them off. I said, I'll put them together. At least it's a better impression. They're like, oh, okay. And I actually went back with like 25, put them in Canva, made the real nice, you know, little flyer, all the information, and just gave it to them. Zero branding on it, just gave it to them with their phone number on it. And they were super appreciative. It's just all about giving and giving and giving, baby. I'm telling you, it comes back, man. I'm a big believer of it. So just keep giving as much as you can to help support them. Like, bunch of flowers are great. Box of cookies is awesome. You know, first of all, they're probably just going to eat the cookies in their underwear watching Netflix. Second, the flowers are going to die. It doesn't do anything to help them sell their home. Give them shit that helps them sell. But great question. Thank you. I appreciate that one. Anybody else? No. All right. So I'm going to ask all of you. In fact, I'm going to challenge all of you because I always love a challenge. In a show of hands, show of fingers, some people might be all in, some people might be tentatively one. How many for sale by owners appointments are you determined to set? Preview appointments, get in the door, go look, go talk to in the next 7 days. Let's see some fingers, and we'll hold each other accountable. Okay, I see some 3s, I see some 1s, I see some 2s. Jay Patterson down here, 3 fingers. Miss Sarah with 1. Janelle with 1. Shauna 1. Shauna, come on, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Make that 2, baby. Let's go. All right, guys, I really appreciate you jumping on board. I hope this helps. I really do. I urge you. It's like fish in a barrel, baby. They are dying for help. Just love on them, support them, give them the push towards their goal. And when that goal doesn't work, they'll come. Trust me, they'll come. I think we're pretty much out of time, correct? We got to jump off. Guys, I appreciate it. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at the Brit Bear. I know, super weird. At the Brit Bear. I'm sure we can get my email bounced down to you guys as well. But if you want to follow up, if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy. And let me know if you get those appointments, baby. I'd love to hear about it. All right. All right.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, guys. Have a great one.